Well, I haven't done one of these in a while. Sort of a post-work vlog or an off-day post-work vlog, if you will. Letting you guys know what's going on with the job and what's been happening. Well, I'll say this. I've I'll say this. Back in February, I celebrated 1 year with the job, so that's good. Um, so I've done that, and it's been quite an interesting year, as a lot of you probably know. I was hired on, of course, as a cashier, and then I ended up doing that for a little bit, and then I ended up in the cart associate area for a few months, and then back to cashier. Now, some might say, well, now some might ask, well, why did they put you at why did they hire you at a cashier when you were doing mostly carts? Well, at the time, we didn't have that many cart associates, and part of my job title when I got hired was cashier slash cart associate. Go figure. And I've done that ever since. And now I've not done carts all the time, but basically I basically had that title ever since. In fact, recently, about a week or two ago, I ended up doing carts for a whole day because of the fact that they didn't have anybody scheduled. But thankfully, I went back to being a cashier, and that's what I've been doing. On occasions, they will pull out the whole cart associate card and have me go out there and do carts and stuff. Like I said, once in a while they'll pull that card. Once in a while they'll pull that card out. But most of the time, most of the time they'll have me doing cashiering, and that's the one thing I'm actually good at and been good at. Now, I have seen a lot of things happen in the past year or so. I will say that. I've seen a lot of things, happen in the past year or so. Um, for example, I've seen several associates move to other departments. I've seen other associates remain where they are, and I've seen other associates either other associates either transfer or leave, and that's it. And out of all the associates that got hired within that day that I got hired and got trained, and even if you include the people that came after us, after us, I'm one. There's another that right now is on maternity leave. Another that's there. One that's now in pharmacy. One that's a department manager now in grocery section. Trying to think who else. I think that's about it. I think that's about it. So there's just a few of us left. Some of the associates that were there, some of us thought, hey, they could succeed. They could be the next uh, CSM or the next assistant or whatever. That never happened. See, the one thing that some people looked at with this job when they got hired on was the fact that it clashed with the scheduling of life. Now, true, I'm not too fond sometimes of the scheduling myself, but I deal with it. There have been several times, like recently, I was I did 4:30 to 11:30, and then I did 7:30 to 4:30 the next day. Now, some people might say, well, that's 8 hours. Yeah, that's 8 hours between shifts, but It's not 8 hours of rest. Because everybody pretty much knows you can't just come home and say, "Hi, everybody, I'm back." Or, "Hi, hi." Let's say you're married and you say to your husband and your wife, "Hi, I'm back," and "Oh, good night." You can't just do that. You got to talk to them, eat something, whatever. How about that? You gotta eat something or whatever. You can't just say hi, bye, whatever. No. I thought originally they gave you 10 hours in between, 10 or 12 hours. In other words, because they knew you had to go home and kind of get yourself settled in before you went to bed or relaxed. I thought they would give you that time frame. They don't. So, yeah, I can understand why some people would leave because they don't like the scheduling, and that's totally understandable. But still, if you don't like the scheduling, then why in the world did you even let yourself get hired? Why'd you even apply? You see, I've noticed that in 1 year too. One thing I have noted, one thing that a lot of things have also happened in the past year or so as well. A lot of things that I feel, in a sense, we as associates need to be in the know about. And that is the fact that we have lost a lot of managers. Either they've been let go, they've quit, they've transferred. We've lost a lot of managers. In fact, one of the more recent departures we had was a co-store manager or store manager period transferring from our store to the store in Atwater and becoming the store manager. Yeah, she was transferred from there to there, from here to there, basically. And that was one departure we didn't see coming. Everybody kept wondering, well, what's going on? What's happening? That was the departure. Our original store manager silently just disappeared, just silently left. I don't know if it's due to medical issues or what. And then, on top of that, one of our ZSMs, who, when I first got started there, was couldn't wait to get us on the floor, couldn't wait to get us out there as cashiers. She's gone. She's going to be an assistant manager at the store in Los Banos. So, and then on top of that, we're getting all these different new managers we know nothing about just yet. We're trying to have an idea of who they are. And some of the people that are CSMs now, if they have to talk to you and say, "Hey, we got to talk one more time, you're going to go with me to the assistant manager's office," and this is an assistant manager, they have come out and said, "Hey, we may end up butting heads." So, and I can also tell that at times, at the time I've been there in 1 year, that sometimes the hours and the stress of being in charge of something get to the CSMs as well. The CSMs sometimes will take their frustrations out on their associates by accident. In other words, they'll get so frustrated, so PO'd in their own way that they'll take the frustrations out. Now, some of the CSMs, they have a goal. Like we all have a goal. I mean, I've told everybody my goal is to back them up as a CSM, if not be CSM in a sense. Because I know I may not be the best at it, but I know I will be there. I know that they can depend on me to be there. Now, if I've been talked to a few times, of course. If I've been told recently, if I get out of line one more time, I'm going to go to the assistant manager's office and we're going to have a talk there, have a coaching, of course. But there have been several times other people have done that. And have they gotten that same treatment? Maybe, maybe not. But again, it's all about the fact that the CSMs that are there, they have a goal. their main goal is to become a department manager of a department they feel they could be good at. One CSM is now a department manager of fabrics and crafts. One of the current CSMs wants to be a department manager of electronics because they used to work in that area. I think they used to work as a managing supervisor or something like that. Who knows? And you get all these other things, so on and so forth. One guy that was CSM is now department manager of jewelry. See, that's the next stop for CSMs, is to be a department manager. But it all depends on what department you feel you're going to be good at. One is a department manager of bread. So it all depends on that level. And sometimes you don't even have to be a department manager. Sometimes your next goal could be counting the money in the money room. That could be your goal there. But most of the time it's to be a department manager. And sometimes if you don't want to be a department manager and you find out that the other position that could open up is this, you can go for that. You know, as a matter of fact, one girl I used to work with who has the same name as my second older sister, pretty much I think a lot of people felt she was going to be a CSM, but instead she ended up being part of the money room. So you can have that option as well. Now, have a lot of us, now, again, like I said, I've seen a lot go on. In my first year, like I said, it's been very interesting. I mean, I didn't expect, in July that I was going to end up leaving my job for a few days because my grandmother passed in Kansas. My dad's mom passed in Kansas. I didn't expect that, but yet it happened, and I had to go. The thing is, a lot has happened at this store. In 1 year, I've seen a lot happen. In 1 year, I've grown. I've learned a lot. I still have a lot more to learn. More importantly, I've got to watch what I do and say. And I'm sure a lot of us have been like that before. We'll say something that we're not supposed to say, and we'll get in trouble for it. Heck, last night I said something to one of the CSMs, or as she was that night, one of the CSMs who was actually not supposed to be CSM, but was more along the lines of working customer service. I ended up reminding her that we had to close the doors. The close have to be the pharmacy side doors have to be closed at a certain time. So I reminded her of that. She's like, okay, okie dokie. She was just joking around, having fun with it. So she tells the girl that's the CSM for the closing CSM for that night, and she pulls me to the side just briefly, and she talks to me and said, "What did we talk about the other day?" And basically, I've been having this habit of, I guess, telling them what to do, and that's not my position. And I think the reason it might come out that way, it's not, here's the thing, it's not that I mean to make it, it's not that I don't want it to sound like that. It's not that I don't want it to sound like that. I'm just trying to help out. I guess just part of me still looks at them as regular cashiers or courtesy, regular associates. I don't see them as anything else. Honestly, I don't. But, I've got to work on that, and that's a problem I've got to work on. I've got to basically not say anything when something's awry, if you know what I mean. And a lot of other things have changed too. I noticed that we can't even leave our registers if we're slow. When we turn off the light, put ourselves on a self sign in and all that, we can't even leave. Even if we have this many go backs, we can't leave. And again, these are constant changes and stuff, along with the changing of managers and all that we have to be informed of. We have to be let known, hey, this is why we're doing this, and this is why we're going in this direction. We got to be given notice about that because it hurts us as well as it hurts them. But I know, obviously this we're not the only store, we're not the only associates and managers that have this problem. Other stores and managers and associates have this problem as well. And it's a trend that needs to stop, especially when it comes to scheduling your associates, your CSMs, your card associates, your courtesy associates, your customer service associates, all that. It needs to stop. It needs to get corrected. There are times, I'll tell you this past year,